Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunch Break Live, real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz and I'm here today with you hoping that I have a strong enough connection for you guys to hear me. So I'm going to look and see. I'm getting some sort of a message from Facebook. Let's see. It's not warning me that I'm not broadcasting. So if you guys see me there, hey, Jared, how are you? Give me a thumbs up and let me know that you hear me so I'm not, talking to myself like I spend most days doing. Okay, awesome. Hi, Mama. Glad you guys are here. All right. So I want to welcome you all in as you're beginning to gather and as more and more of you join me, whether you're live or watching me on demand. Again, I'll tell you, I'm Carrie Dela Cruz and I'm here today to talk about the needs that we feed. And I think that this is like the perfect time of year to talk about this because we all tend to do a lot of feeding in a lot of unhealthy ways. And so the freeze is affecting it. Yeah, I know. Brr, 67 degrees. Look, don't make fun of us in Southern California. We are the center of the universe out here. And when things happen, we want the entire world to have pity upon us. That it is our very real need, to be acknowledged for our suffering. So I'm just going to put that out there. It's horrible. And it's like the plagues of Egypt. I'm just going to go on record and say this weekend there was some crazy poison stuff falling from the sky. And then it was like gathering all over, running through gutters and along the curb when I went to park. And I mean, and now we've got this tremendous, freeze. It's crazy. I hope it ends. Anyway. All right. So here's what I'm going to open with. And I'm going to just say, look, if you're a human being, which I'm pretty sure you are if you're listening and understand what I'm saying, you have needs, right? We all have needs. And those needs, and I think this is important, are no more and no less valuable depending upon your weight, okay? In other words, your value is not contingent upon the number on the scale. So your desire for love isn't any less because you weigh more. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is true that some of our needs are healthy needs and some of our needs are unhealthy needs. But if you're a human being, you have needs. And I like to think that the unhealthy needs that, come up in our lives are really unmet healthy needs. And I will explain what I'm talking about shortly, all right? And what that means is if we can learn to feed our healthy needs, I think our unhealthy needs might be less likely to cause us troubles, rear their heads, rule our lives, and, rule our plates. So, all right. So when I talk about feeding what's eating you, this is exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about when I say what's eating you that you're feeding in an unhealthy way. Okay. So let me just talk about some of the needs. And here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Get a pen, get a paper. And I want you, and this is for you, this is not for me, okay? This is for your own consumption. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to tell me or the world. I just want you to, as I run through kind of a partial list of needs, whether they're unhealthy or healthy, I want you to write down on your piece of paper if these are needs that are very real and meaningful and important to you, and you struggle to have them met in healthy ways, okay? So let me just throw some of these things out there. You guys write them down, see if anything resonates, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, human beings have the need to be loved, accepted, respected, protected, worthy, understood. We have the need to be perceived as being capable and competent, strong, valued. We have the need to be credited, remembered, recognized, trusted, right? Forgiven, in control, right. A lot of us have a need to be right. Excused. That's part of being forgiven. Permitted. We want to have freedom to do things. Challenged. Okay? So do any of those, I see a lot of things flying by. Do any of those things resonate with you guys as very real needs that you have and feel and struggle with, that you don't always feel that they're being met within you? I know, and this can be at home, this can be in your marriage. What is it with phone calls in the middle of my show? Seriously? Sorry. And we're back. These can be needs that are get met in lots of different ways in different relationships. And some of our needs are not going to be met in different relationships. Okay. So like sometimes we have the need to have a share, to commiserate and talk stuff through because we have a shared need to be heard and to have someone let us know that we're understood and we're valued. And maybe that comes from a girlfriend, and not the husband or the boyfriend. Okay. So we get our needs, not all needs are met in all arenas of our lives and in all relationships, which is why we do need to shore up and have and strengthen lots and lots of relationships and areas in our lives. So we have needs that can be met at home. We have needs that can be met outside the home, maybe in the workplace, at school, whatever it is. Okay. But these needs, and I'm not going to value or evaluate them right now. They just are. They're just needs that we feed, right? Do you guys agree? All right. Let me talk to you a little bit about connections, how it is that we have these needs, how we get them met often in unhealthy ways. And look, if we're dealing with obesity, if we're struggling with any sort of addiction, these are the things, these are the needs, these are get to the heart of and the core of what it is that we're feeding or trying to address or cope with or numb, whatever it is, right? These needs. Okay, we hunger, and so often we throw food at it, but we know that's not the answer. So I want you to think about this for just a minute. We often use food for comfort, safety, companionship, and to be excused. Think about that for a minute. Do you see a connection there? All right, how about this? Many of us use alcohol as a distraction, or because we want to be perceived as being bold, having temerity. Maybe we want to be forgiven. So if we're drinking and we do stuff, we can be forgiven for that because, we weren't in our right mind. Maybe we got a drink of courage so that we can be perceived as being very, very strong. Look what we can accomplish and look how much we can drink, okay? What about shopping? Shopping can be used in unhealthy ways for relief. How many of us talk about retail therapy? Whew. Man, I just love to come home with a couple of big bags of shoes and purses and clothes. Oh, what a relief. I just feel so good when I go shopping. Or control. You control what you buy, right? Whether you want it or not. You have control. Maybe you don't have control in other areas of your life, so you exercise that control with shopping. To feel worthy, right? It's a very real direct connection that some of us draw where we say, I must be worthy and I'm worth this much because I spent this much. Look how worthy I am. And people are worthy of nice things and I deserve nice things and I deserve all of these nice things, okay? So we can use, we have a very real need to feel worthy, and we can use shopping in an unhealthy way to feed that very healthy and real need. Isn't that true? We can also use shopping because we want to be remembered. When we buy gifts for other people, remember me, right? Remember me. So think about that, okay? We have a need to be remembered. Maybe we get that fed by buying gifts for other people. Remembrances. All right, gambling. A lot of us can gamble for recognition. Ooh, you're so good. What a winner, man. I don't know how. I don't even understand craps. Oh, how do you play, poker? I mean, that's such a game of skill, and it's really not a game of chance. And recognition and credit. You get credit when you're a big winner, right? And you take big risk. You're a risk taker, and that is a characteristic or a value that can be really respected by people, right? A risk taker. You're competent, right? Maybe you don't feel confident in other areas or competent. And so gambling, you have to be competent to understand the complexities of these games, right? The odds, betting on the ponies, betting on, fantasy football, whatever it is, right? We have the need to be right. Well, what proves that you were right better than gambling? Because when you win, you must be right because you knew. Right? You bet on the right horse. You bet on the right team. All right? Challenged. We want to be challenged, and we think, okay, this is the way in which I get my need to be challenged met. Respected. A lot of people have a lot of respect for high rollers, and people who, right, you go to Vegas, you want respect, baby? You get yourself a big high roller suite and all expenses paid. So that's how you get your need to be respected met, right? And how about this? How about sex? How about promiscuity? How about people that use sex because they want to feel loved and they want to feel worthy and they want to be accepted, right? So we have these human needs that are very healthy that many of us are getting fed in unhealthy ways. And the interesting thing is when we try to meet the need in unhealthy ways, I think the healthy need is never met, which means that we have to go back and do more and more unhealthy things in a desperate need to meet a healthy need. Does that make sense? It's like a bottomless pit, right? All right. I contend that we forge immutable bonds between our healthy needs and our unhealthy behaviors. And so it goes without saying that unhealthy needs likely result in unhealthy behaviors, right? I mean, that makes sense. If you have an unhealthy need, you're going to get it met in an unhealthy way because there are unhealthy needs. But so we get our healthy needs met in unhealthy ways, and then we go get our unhealthy needs met in unhealthy ways. You see what I'm saying? A lot of unhealthiness going on there. And we're probably not even aware of it, but what we're seeing is the result of our unhealthy behavior. We're seeing going into tremendous debt, the credit card bills, the weight going up on the scale because we've, welcomed the carbs back. We're seeing ourselves drinking more and more and getting drunk and feeling embarrassed for our behavior and stuff, right? And we don't know what to do. And so we keep trying to get a healthy need met through unhealthy behavior, and we crank up the heat on the stove under that pot, okay? That's what I think. So the goal is to break the bonds that we create between healthy and unhealthy behaviors, and let's create some healthy bonds, right? So let's examine and acknowledge our healthy needs and find healthy ways to meet them, to feed them. Does that make sense? That's what I want to talk about today, okay? All right, you guys with me so far? Let me see some thumbs up or something flying by so I know that you guys are with me and I'm making a little bit of sense here. Okay, I'm not seeing anything flying by, but that could be Facebook just delaying. So I will just... Yes. Okay, I see my mama's face and I see some thumbs up flying by. Okay, thank you for the feedback. All right. I believe that we alone, now this is a bold statement, okay, but I believe that we alone are responsible for feeding many of our own needs, meaning it is an inside job. It's within us. It's within ourselves to find healthy ways to get our own needs met from within. Okay, not looking to others to feed our needs, not looking to others for our value, right? Or for the belief that we deserve to be loved, not looking outside, but looking within. Okay, that's what I think. In other words, if I want to be loved, I have to look at it, and you've heard me say it before. Do I love myself? I got to ask that. Am I being loving to others? There's always a duality here, okay? It's always a yin and yang. It's always a, give and take. Am I loving to myself? Do I love myself? And am I loving to others? And if not, this is what we got to look at. What would being a loving person look like? What would a loving person do? In other words, how do we perceive that we are loved in healthy ways? What do others do to make us feel loved? When we look around and we say, what a loving person, what is it? What are the characteristics that they possess that we want to emulate, that we believe would make us lovable, right? And be loving to others. So if you wrote that the need to be loved is an unmet need within yourself, you might want to write down what I'm talking about here, which is, do I love myself? Am I being loving to others? And what do loving people do? Okay, so that you can begin to make the connection and fill in those blanks for yourself. Here's what I think. What makes you love someone else? I asked myself this question. What makes me love someone else? When I look at someone else and I go, I just love that person. What is it about them? Well, they're thoughtful. They're considerate and compassionate, loyal. They're understanding and they're forgiving. That's my list. that may not be your list. That may not be, those things, those characteristics may not denote love to you. They may not convey that to you. There may be other words that you plug in there, other qualities. That's up to you to determine. How do you feel loved from someone else? What do you see others exhibit, okay, when they possess that quality? That's very important. So our job is to then, if we can identify the qualities that we find to be present and strong in loving people, we need to learn to feed those qualities. Do you see? By doing the things that reflect them. Okay, don't worry. I'm not hanging you out there and letting you guess what it is. I'm going to fill in some blanks for you today. Here's how we can do that. If you want to be a loving person, why not call a friend? Call someone, you know, that you haven't spoken to in a long time, maybe. Reconnect with them. Send a card, yes, in the mail, not just an email. Actually sit down and hand write a card. How about if you follow through on an offer to help someone? Don't just throw it out there and say, let me know what I can do to help. Really follow through and say, hey, can I do this to help you? Okay, follow through with that. Be a good listener. Sometimes we all need to be listened to. I need to remember that and shut up sometimes, but let's just say, I'm not very loving in that regard, am I? I'm always yapping. So the point is, if we show that we care about other people by listening to them, that's a great way to show that we are loving people, right? So those are healthy things that we could do to feed healthy needs. And they have nothing to do with food. Did you notice that? Nothing to do with drinking or gambling or alcohol or shopping or excess anything, right? Okay, those are just healthy behaviors. Okay, how about if you want to feel worthy, but you feel worthless, okay? What makes someone valuable and worthy in your own estimation? I mean, when you look at someone and you say, wow, you know, that person has so much value. They're so worthy to me. When I see them, I wish I was like them. Let's say that, right? Okay. What signs do you look for? Well, when I look for someone who is worthy or has value, I look for honesty and truthfulness, first and foremost. Is that person truthful? Are they going to tell me the truth? Are they going to be honest? Are they going to be reliable? Okay, see those qualities? So those are the qualities, those are the things that we look for that will feed that need for value. That's what we want to exhibit to ourselves and to others if we want to feed that need for worthiness and value in a healthy way. Got it? Okay, here's some behaviors. Start by owning your crap. My mom and I talk about this all the time, okay? I'll be like driving home and I'll be like, Mom, do these people understand that I am so on to them? Who do they think they're kidding? Who do they think they're fooling with some of the garbage they post on Facebook? And and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this happened. And I'm like, I do. You posted about it and you just told me, right? So it's like very frustrating to me. Maybe I need to work on compassion, patience. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, own your crap, people. I can't own it for you. I've got enough crap to own myself. All right? So this is a behavior that can help you to feed the need to be valued and worthy, is to own your crap, because this is part of integrity, right? Apologize. Apologize. It will not kill you. I promise. I'm here to tell you. I'm not dead yet, and I have apologized and probably have more apologizing to do. Honor your promises. Is your word your bond or not? When you say you're going to do something, do you do it, or do you come up with excuses for not doing it that sound perfectly, reasonable and rational and logical, and no one would argue with them, except you, maybe. So follow through, honor your promises, okay, to yourself and to others. Ooh, that's interesting. So it's not just what I promise others, it's what I promise myself. Do I promise myself that I'm going to make every effort to live a sober recovery or not? Am I honoring that promise through my behaviors or not? Interesting, right? Show up. This is a biggie for me. Just show up. Show up. And I came to this conclusion a while back, and I think it was a funeral. And you know what? Honestly, it might have been my dad's funeral. And it might have been when people showed up and I thought, these people are here. They're just here. And it wasn't anything they had to say or do or bring. They just showed up. Do you show up? Are you there? To me, that's one of the easiest ways we can be worthwhile, worthy, and have value, is to just show up. You don't have to say anything fabulous. You don't have to look great. Just be there. Sometimes it's just a matter of holding somebody's hand. Just being there. Show up. All right? Strong. Let's say you said, I want to be strong. That's a need that I have and I don't feel strong. And you're constantly looking for other people to make you feel strong, and yet it's not working. And so you eat or you drink and you're not married, right? Okay? Strong. Look at the strengths, the characteristics in other people who demonstrate that they are strong. Here are some that I came up with. They're confident. They speak boldly and assuredly. They defend others. They show courage. And they appear to be fearless. I don't know. Are there ways in your own life, in your own world, are there ways to feed the very real need to be strong and to achieve those characteristics that you might see in others? What are some behaviors? Do things that you haven't done before. Step out of your comfort zone. You know what they say, get out of the box. Try something that you have never done before. Take risks. Let me just tell you, historically, I am not much of a risk taker. I'm learning. Take risks because you just don't know what you're capable of doing if you don't try. Stand up and speak up. This is big. I did not used to do this. I used to get steamrolled all the time. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be aggressive and offensive to stand up and speak up for yourself. It's a learned art, I promise you. And you know what? Along the way, that pendulum is going to overswing and overcorrect. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to step in it and go, oops, that was a little harsh. Maybe I need to work on that a little bit. So it's a muscle. If you're not used to speaking up and standing up, it's a muscle you got to work on, all right? Let's see. Approach your own recovery with confident commitment, all right? Confidently be committed and say, when you wake up in the morning and you show up for your life and you say, today I will put forth my very best effort to make the healthiest choices I can, one at a time. I will look at identifying my very healthy needs and find healthy ways to meet those needs, right? That's a way that you can be stronger, I think. All right. Now, I know what some of you guys are saying. I added this because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can hear it now. But I eat because I'm bored. Okay, right? How many of you guys say that? I eat because I'm bored. Yes, yes, yes. Well, here's a shocker. I don't really think that's the real reason we eat at all. I don't think it's about boredom at all. Or maybe boredom is really just a great way to cover the very real unmet need. So for example, if we want to figure that out, I think we have to ask what it is that we want. That's the first thing. What is it that we want that we're not getting? And let's see here. Ask what we want to be doing and unearth the need we're trying to feed. That's my little note, my chicken scratching. I'm like, what the heck was I saying there? Got it? Okay. To identify what it is that we want to be doing. When we do that, we can begin to unearth the need that we have been feeding in unhealthy ways. All right. So I had some thoughts about this. It's like, why, if I said I was bored, what are some reasons that I might say that? Well, maybe I'm bored because I'm lonely. Okay. What can you do if you're lonely? Phone a friend, go hang out with somebody, change the scenery, leave the house, go be with people, go for a walk with the dog, get out of yourself. Okay. If you're lonely, reach out to someone. If you literally cannot move because you're physically limited, call somebody up and talk to them. Connect with somebody. So, is it fair to say that loneliness could manifest itself or could masquerade as boredom? What do you think? Maybe? All right. I'm bored because I'm trapped. A lot of us are trapped for various reasons. Quite often, I hear this a lot, by physical limitation. Can't get out of the house, can't move, right? You feel trapped. You feel like a prisoner. Well, that could masquerade itself as, boredom, don't you think? Because being trapped, feeling trapped feels hopeless. But boredom, even kids get bored, right? Mommy, I'm bored. Go outside and play, right? That's harmless. But we feed the boredom. which is really just masking or covering up for the fact that we feel trapped. What are things that you can do to feel less trapped? And you're going to have to explore alternative means because the usual methods aren't working here. You know, if you used to be very active and now you're inactive, you can't do the things you used to do. So therefore, you're going to have to explore alternative options to not feel trapped. But the best way to do that is to say, I'm not bored. What am I really here? Maybe I'm not challenged. Maybe I'm just, what do you call it? I'm just showing up and just not really applying myself, and I need a good challenge and I'm just not challenged. I'm just punching my time card every day, just showing up and then going home and showing up and going home, but really not putting forth any effort. Maybe the need to be challenged is what's really masquerading as boredom. Maybe you feel bored because you're not doing what you really want to be doing. And that is broad and open-ended there. Figure out what it is you really want to be doing. And a lot of times we hold ourselves back from doing it, right? I say, I really want to be writing my book. And then I'll sit there and get bored? No, I really want to be writing my book, so write the book. Got it? All right. I think you guys get the idea, right? Are you making the connections here, identifying your needs, figuring out what kind of qualities are associated with that need, and then finding healthier ways to meet the need. Also determining how it is that you're getting that healthy need met in unhealthy ways. Along the way, you can also see where your unhealthy needs are. You can figure out the things that, that's not the best thing for me to be feeding. We can look at that too, but let's start by looking at the healthy, very real human needs that we have, all right? So, how do you start addressing the issue of feeding needs in healthy ways? You got to identify the needs, and I think the holidays are a really super perfect time for that, and that's how I opened the show, right? Santa's wish list, write it out, check it twice, believe, and then feed it. Got it? So that's it for me. I think I went pretty darn long, but I think this was a good one, right? I think this was really, really important because this stuff, I was going to say it comes out during the holidays, but it doesn't come out during the holidays because we feed it. We feed it down, or we drink it down, or we spend it down, right? All of the needs that we have, the very real needs, are getting absolutely obscured by these other behaviors, which are really unhealthy, but which are reinforced because everyone else is doing them too. Does that make sense, right? If everyone else is doing it, then it doesn't look unhealthy to you. But if you're the only one doing it, then you start to feel very lonely. So I'm just going to take a gander at what you guys are talking about. Oh, and before I do, I want to thank you all for your feedback about that Lunch Break Live, that you find it useful, beneficial, that it's helping you. It's very encouraging to hear that. And here's an action item for you. Share this. Share the show. That's how I can see that it's going to get out there. Share it. Share it in a private message if you don't want to post it on your wall. Just share it to your wall. Whatever. We share all kinds of things to our walls and then move on. But if you do that, maybe we'll reach some people that wouldn't otherwise know what it is I'm talking about. Again, only do this if you think there's a value to it. If you think there is a very real need that could be met in healthy ways by sharing the show. See, it only makes sense. All right, I'm going to look at what you guys are saying and try not to knock my phone over in the process. Thank you guys all for being here, Jared and Mama. And let's see, I can't call you guys out until you call yourselves out. Dave, good morning. The future is bright. It's Wednesday here. Of course it is. Let's see here. A lot of love flying back and forth. My friend Nancy Henriksen 6. So happy you guys that you are here. Marcus, you're here live. Loving that. Loving that. My yes guy. I love it. You are so honest and self-aware and you own your crap. I love that. Now it's time to start forgiving and moving on. Finding healthy ways to feed that, Marcus. Yep. Stand up for yourself. Good for you. Take risk. It is a hard one to do. We have to take calculated risks, not irresponsible risks. Okay, let's look at calculated risk. And sometimes it's good to take a friend along, take someone else along who's already doing it and going, man, I think I'll go with them because they seem to be doing what it is that I want to do. They seem to be taking the risks I want to take, but I want to do it in a as unrisky way as possible, I guess you could say. All right. Not sure how to start taking risk. Well, there you go. See what it is that other people are doing that you would call risky, not unhealthy, risky behavior, okay, that you would say, you know what, I've never taken that risk to hike or, mountain climb, or, some physical risk, right? Or an emotional risk, going to a party by yourself. Or maybe you're not a party goer and you're scared of social situations, or getting up and standing in front of people and talking, kind of like I do. That's scary for a lot of people, right? Join Toastmasters. Figure out what kind of a risk you might like to take. See how other people do it, and then join them. You don't have to do it alone, all right? And loneliness, yeah. Yeah, we do get lonely. And you know what? The way we get untrapped is by getting outside of ourselves. Usually we are trapped within ourselves just as much as we might be physically trapped. All right, guys? So we get out of ourselves, get out of our heads, get out of our way. That's what I think. Being honest with yourself. Yeah, you know what? That's true, Mom. That's part of owning your crap, is just saying, these are the ways in which I have actually contributed to my own imprisonment. These are the ways, these are the lies I told myself that I believed that kept me trapped. That's big stuff. You don't have to tell anybody what you figure out. I'm not asking you to come clean with me. Come clean with you. All right. And we can talk about more ways, maybe on a future show, about ways in which you can get untrapped. All right, then. So that's about it, as my phone threatens to tip over. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. I hope that you felt that this was worth your time, because I sure did. There was a lot of very important stuff in there for me as I prepped for the show. I was very excited about it, because I said, yes, we have needs, doggone it. We are worthy and deserving, and, it's very real for us to want to be loved, want to be accepted and validated, and be recognized and get credit and feel accepted, right? These are all very real healthy needs. Let's find healthy ways to feed them, because I believe in doing that, some of the unhealthy needs that we've been feeding will just go away. That's what I think. Or at least they're not going to be very hungry. All right, you guys, thanks for being here. I've gone long enough. You take care, and I want to remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace that joy, and above all, live your recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. Take care, you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.